You've seen Luigi win Mario Party by doing absolutely nothing. But here's a question. Can you take a page out of Tesla's book and let your Mario Kart drive itself? Is it possible to beat Mario Kart 8 Deluxe by doing absolutely nothing? Normally with these sorts of videos, this would be when we spend a bit of time explaining the rules, and honestly this time they really couldn't be simpler. Mario Kart 8 has some accessibility options that allow for your kart to automatically accelerate and steer itself. What we want to see today is whether or not it is possible to beat Mario Kart 8 Deluxe by relying entirely on these options. No control input for anything other than menu navigation is allowed. Our goal is to win all 12 Grand Prix included in the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe base game in 50cc while being bound by such restraints. Now, would it be nice to do the DLC tracks? Yes, but most of them don't exist yet, so I tell you what, why don't you press that subscribe button, that way you're notified when we eventually try them out. But anyways, we've got a lot of races to take part in, so let's not delay any further and get into this. We'll be playing as Luigi riding the Comet with off-road wheels and a super glider. We'll of course start with the Mushroom Cup. Mario Kart Stadium starts us off pretty nicely. We of course don't get the benefits of item use drifting, or really even just decent racing lines at all. Luckily, Mario Kart Stadium is very forgiving on that last point due to many of its corners having speed boosts on the outside of the turn. This actually makes hugging the sides of the corners a somewhat valid strategy, which is great because that's what auto steering kind of by default does to us. Utilizing those boost pads propels us to second place, which actually would have been first if it weren't for this pair of red shells at the end. Oh well. Water Park doesn't have as friendly speed boosts as Mario Kart Stadium did. In fact, we often find ourselves getting past as we take this ludicrously wide approach to the roller coaster section. What does help though is the fact that there is a straightaway of decent length just before the finish line, which we can use to catch back up because apparently we're just faster than any of the computer players. I mean, I'll certainly take it, I'm just confused as to why. Once again, we take second on this race. Sweet Sweet Canyon features some obnoxiously wide corners and a piranha plant at the end, which the auto steering drives us into every single lap. A blue shell didn't help either, but in spite of all that, we do manage yet another second place here. In Dwop Ruins, I actually kind of like the route auto steering takes when it goes straight onto the wall on this part of the track. Although I do hate how it takes us into the drink very ungracefully immediately thereafter. But this straightaway at the end is just what we need to clinch a first place for the race, which gives us just enough points to win the cup outright. Okay, so that is one of the cups down, and on our first attempt too. I kind of thought this would be a bit more difficult. An isolated event, perhaps. Except that it wasn't. The Flower Cup is also conquered on our first attempt, as well as the Star Cup, the Shell Cup, the Leaf Cup, and the Bell Cup. That is half of the cups brushed aside with little to no difficulty. But that still leaves the other half, and who knows, perhaps one of them will prove to be entirely impossible. Let's get into it and find out. Looking at the Egg Cup, my first attempt was basically stolen from me by a pair of red shells thrown right before the finish lines on Mute City and Yoshi Circuit. That being said, I will say that Yoshi Circuit is a bit annoying on account of all the off-roading the auto-steering is content to allow. Attempt number 2 did the trick though. The Triforce Cup attempt was doomed thanks to just really awful cornering on Rainbow Road and Ice Ice Outpost, as well as getting hit by a blue shell at the finish line of Wario's Gold Mine. Luckily on attempt number 2, Daisy's poor thwomp dodging abilities paved the way to a full-on victory on Rainbow Road, which gave way to a narrow victory over the cup as a whole, in spite of our performance on Ice Ice Outpost still being incredibly disappointing. Now our attention turns to the Banana Cup. And honestly, I hate it now. Half of the tracks here have a part in them where the auto-steering just completely fails us. In Dry Desert, there's two. First is this sand whirlpool thing? Anyway, here our brilliant cart just decides to drive right next to the giant pit. Now, at least it doesn't make us fall in, but it does slow us considerably, which is obviously not good. But that is nothing compared to the Oasis section, where the auto-steering just drives us straight into a tree. But as infuriating as that is, it is child's play compared to the end of DK Jungle, where without fail, the auto-steering avoids the glider ramp, crashes into this totem, and then takes the longest possible route along this final corner. This track may actually be the one that auto-steering is the worst at navigating. As a point of reference, we've usually finished top 3 on any given track so far in this challenge, occasionally dipping down to 4th. The placements on DK Jungle were 3rd on the first attempt, 7th on the second attempt, 6th on the third attempt, and 5th on the fourth attempt. Somehow that was actually the attempt where we won the cup, but only because the other results were 1st, 2nd, and 1st. Oh well, honestly I'm just glad to be out of the jungle. Let's see what's next. Each race in the Special Cup has something towards the end that auto-steering just isn't great at handling. In Cloud Top Cruise, it's a shortcut that is basically always attempted, and literally always fails. The other 3 tracks feature some sort of turn right at the end that auto-steering takes in a ludicrously inefficient way. But hey, in spite of all that, you can still get top 3 in every race, and lose anyway. What can I say? Sometimes the competition is just really tough. On the attempts thereafter, the curse of the mushroom proved to be an insurmountable obstacle. Basically, if you're holding a mushroom, then often the auto-steering will steer you into the shortcuts that possessing that mushroom would normally allow you to take. Of course, under our rules, we can't actually use the mushroom, so those shortcut attempts nearly always fell flat on their faces. But on attempt number 4, we managed to evade the curse and win the cup. The Lightning Cup's Tick-Tock Clock and Piranha Plant Slide were actually pretty easy. We would consistently win first place on both of those tracks. Now Grumble Volcano is another matter entirely. This part towards the end, where the path splits, our opponents just seem to take much more efficiently than we do. It also probably doesn't help that we consistently miss the glider ramp. And then there's Rainbow Road, which is a bunch of gentle turns, which of course auto-steering loves to take as widely as possible. Even at the end here, where such a line also means you're missing the speed boosts. But even so, we can manage to get a respectable 52 points. Which doesn't really mean much when Daisy gets 54. That's the other thing about this cup and the last one. I'm not sure I can scientifically prove it, but the AI just seemed to race better on the Lightning and Special Cups. But fear not, for on attempt number 6, we get 52 points. Again. But this time that's actually enough to win, so yay. And that leaves us with only one more cup left to conquer. The Crossing Cup. The first track here is one Baby Park, which is a brutally punishing race. The first issue is, interestingly enough, the track design. Yes, the simplest Mario Kart track design ever devised may actually be the hardest for us to race on in this challenge. For the uninitiated, Baby Park is a simple, small oval track. If you've seen NASCAR, think that. For human beings, it is probably actually the single easiest track to traverse in the entire Mario Kart series. But to auto-steering, it's a confounding mess. A mess for which auto-steering has one simple strategy: hugging the exact edge of the track for the entire race. I don't think you need to be a Mario Kart expert to realize that's not exactly an optimal racing line. Add on top of that, heightened item play, which we can't really participate in, but certainly can be affected by, and yeah, that's not exactly a great start for the Crossing Cup. Let's hope the next one buoys our chances a bit. Cheeseland does just that. The final stretch is surprisingly auto-steering friendly, leading to this track reliably contributing to a first or second place finish in our attempts. Wildwoods then doesn't do that. The first half of the track goes alright, but once you hit the flowing water section, it all goes downhill. Literally and figuratively. The auto-steering makes no attempt to stay in the stream, which means you're missing out on the speed boost sticking with it would provide, usually getting passed by quite a few players on your way down. Then you normally go through the lily pad speed boost section, without hitting a single boost. And then after that, this S-bend right before the finish line isn't the worst turn into the finish we've ever seen, but it's certainly worse for us than a complete straightaway would have been. So, yeah. Wildwoods is certainly no baby park, but it's not a walk in the park either. And that brings us to the closing track of this cup, Animal Crossing, which is not a friendly track either. And if you want to understand why, just look at its final stretch. In essence, it's 2 U-turns back to back. U-turns that auto-steering consistently hugs the edge of, just like in Baby Park, I might add. U-turns where a mole lives that can pop up and ruin your day, I might add. U-turns that feature a shortcut which the auto-steering will try to take whenever you're holding a mushroom that just slams you face first into a rock, I might add. The long and short of it is that 3 out of the 4 tracks in this cup are out for blood. And blood, let me tell you, is what they got. On attempt number 8, there was no glorious victory, leaving our opponents in the dust. There was only limping over the finish line after tying for first with 48 points. But a tied victory is still a victory. And with this 12th one, we can say that yes, it is possible to beat Mario Kart 8 Deluxe by doing absolutely nothing. If you enjoyed this video, might I recommend you check out my Mario Party challenges, where I tried to beat every board in some of those games by doing absolutely nothing. Or failing that, please just like, comment, subscribe, and check out some other videos on this channel. There's no shortage of content for you to enjoy. And even you longtime viewers may want to check out the channel page and see if you missed anything. YouTube has not been as willing to serve up my videos as of late, to put it lightly. So if you like my stuff, then please check the channel yourself. Do not leave the fate of your entertainment in the hands of the algorithms. That's how something like Terminator happens. But anyways guys, until next time, I have been Simcraft, looking for some more golden topics to make some videos on. Goodbye.